So I have not been feeling great and kind of sick, so I haven't done a weekly vlog in a couple weeks. I am starting that back up this week, but let's just do a wrap up of what all I have read. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm just going to be doing a wrap up of everything that I have read in the past couple of weeks. The last video that I posted that was any type of a vlog was whenever I read House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, and I have read a few books since then. So I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a wrap up since I am starting my weekly vlogs again this week, just to kind of get you caught up on my thoughts, my feelings of what I've been doing. But before we get into all of the books, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Always check my description box for any of my links, including my social media, Tango Books, and my Patreon. Also, always leave me a comment below. I love to hear your feedback on what books you're reading, what books you think that I should read based on the taste that I have. Also, what kind of videos do you want to see going on? I did put that up on my Patreon as a question to see what you guys wanted me to film. Now, let's just get into the books. So the first book that I read was my in-group book club pick of the month, which is Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. I ended up reading all 5 of these books. They were very short, and I actually listened to them on Everand. It was quite an enjoyable time. I will say, as the series started, I wasn't fully invested. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand why these two characters were drawn to each other, why they were attracted to each other. I just didn't feel it. However, as the series went on, I was like, oh, this romance is so good. It was extra spicy, very twisted. So definitely check trigger warnings before you start reading this series. There's quite a lot that goes on. I, however, loved every minute of it. There were some ups, there were some downs, there were some twists and turns, and there was a shock at the ending. The twist that happened, I was like, okay, we definitely went there. I did find out that the author that had wrote this series tragically had passed away a few years ago. So there's not going to be any spin-offs or anything, because I would have loved to have a book or a series with Jake. I loved him so much. And it's really sad, so I'll just create it in my mind of how I wanted it to go. I ended up giving most of these books 4 stars, except the first one I gave 3 stars to. Like I said, it was very hard for me to get into it because very early on they meet and they're both attracted to each other and you just don't feel it. You don't understand why. So that was kind of a downfall, but I enjoyed it over time. And if you love dark romance, you like twisted gothic kind of vibes with extra spice, I think you would like this series. The next book that I finally finished up was Henry VIII, The Heart and the Crown by Alison Weir. Y'all know, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I've been reading this for quite some time. It is pretty chunky. There's a lot of detail that go into this, and so it wasn't a quick read. It wasn't where I could just sit down and binge it. Even though I am a huge Tudor fan and love to learn everything about the Tudors and this time period, I just couldn't go through it as quick. And it's not meant to be that way. You are detailing his life. You're detailing what he did during his reign and how his wives affected him, how the court, and everything. I loved it though. I loved every minute. Every time I would pick this book up and have a cup of coffee or be sitting and waiting for my husband to get done donating, I would dive into Henry VIII's world. I learned so much more about him that I never thought that I could. So I enjoyed this. If any of you are historical fiction fans and you want a good book to read about Henry VIII, but you don't want to read an autobiography where those are just straight nonfiction, this one you are in his head. And of course, it's a fiction story because not everything that he thought or said to a lot of these courtiers are accurate, but the conversations, the beheadings of his wives, and things that he accomplished during his reign is very accurate. So if you wanted to get into it a little bit, I highly suggest reading this. It was so good. The next book that I ended up picking up was Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is a brand new release that came out this month. I actually forgot that I pre-ordered it on Audible because I know that I had a physical copy coming to me from Amazon. So I wasn't even worried about it. And then I woke up on February 6th, was it? And boom, my credit is there. They were like, your pre-order's ready. I was like, which pre-order? So I ended up reading Bride, and there has been a lot of controversy about if people loved it, if people hated it, because this is Ali Hazelwood's first debut into paranormal romance. I will say, I'm on the fence about this. I did end up giving it 4 stars because the last half of the book actually kept me invested. I really enjoyed the characters and the setting and the romance and everything that was brought together. The starting of it seems very juvenile, very YA. I was not invested. I almost DNF'd this book. And then it started getting good, and then I kept listening, and then it got really good. So by the end of it, I did end up loving this book, and I'm very happy that I didn't DNF it and I went on. But I'm going to tell you, like 50 to 60%, first part of this book is very hard to get into. The characters don't seem like they're real, and just everything seems so forced, and it didn't do much for me. And, that really was sad because I was like, I kind of like these characters at the end of it. So I don't know if she's planning on writing any more books that are set in this world. I will continue on reading anything Ali Hazelwood puts out. However, I hope that if she does continue to write in this world with other characters, because I can see where she would be going with that, I'm hoping that it's not a slog to get through just to enjoy the last half of the book. So then I ended up picking up a fantasy romance, which is the Alpha Ho Book Club pick for February, and that is Bloodlands by Stacey Marie Brown. This is book 5 in the Savage Lands series. Next month will be the 6th and final book, and I actually am going to say this. I'm very happy this is ending. I was enjoying my time for the first 3-4 books. This book, I was like, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not invested anymore. I feel like all they did was sit around and be captured and just have conversations. There was no plot progression. There was no action. There wasn't hardly anything. I don't know, with this being like the penultimate book in the series, if we've kind of ran out of things. I feel like we could have made this book and the 6th book be together and cut down a lot in here, because whenever you are just sitting around in a jail cell and just talking and nothing progressing, there is no explosions to get people out of things. There isn't any romance hardly. And we do find things out in here that really do help with the mystery of everything, but it just, I checked out. I got 20 to 30% of the way through and I was like, I'm just checked out. I found myself reading but not really reading. I don't know if that's a me thing or if a lot of people are experiencing that. I'm just ready for this series to end. I feel like it should have ended maybe in book 4 or made book 5 be the final book. I don't see how we had 6 books. I felt like book 4 and 5 really kind of were a slog. I enjoyed book 4 a little bit more because there wasn't a whole lot of conveniences happening. There was less conveniences in this book. but this book was way too conversation heavy and less on everything else. So I did end up reading this. I gave it 3 stars. It was just okay. I'm at the point where I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for it to be over so bad. I'm thinking about picking it up this month, and I shouldn't because I do have other books that I need to read for my in-person book club pick and everything else like that. So it was just okay. Can we just be done? So after finishing Bloodlands, I was starting to get into a book slump because I was like, I need a fantasy romance. I need some spice. I need some plot progression. I need something that's going to have me interested. And I picked up Blood Orange by Karina Halley. This came in one of my special edition book boxes that come each month, and this is the Bookish Box edition. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how I feel about the blood oranges being on the edge. I mean, I know that that's what it says that the title is, but I just, I don't know how I feel about it. I love this book. This is the Dracula duet, and this is book 1. I love it. I have seen a lot of mixed reviews where there are quite a few people that are not enjoying the story. They felt like it was lacking in a lot of parts. I ate this book up. I was sitting there reading it with my coffee. I didn't want to put it down. And whenever I did put it down, I was thinking about these characters and thinking about this world and wondering where we were going to go with this. And the ending that happened, I could not believe what happened. It really shook me. Like, there are so many authors out there that are scared to do a lot of things with their characters because they do not want people to stop reading them or be mad at them or have bad reviews about things. So they take the easy way out whenever it comes to cliffhangers and ending books. Karina Halley held no punches back. She did what a lot of authors do not do. And I loved that. She took a risk, and it paid off because I was just with my jaw on the floor saying, what? How is this happening? So I cannot wait to pick up book 2, which is called Black Rose. I am wondering if Bookish Box is going to do the second book in this set because I want a matching copy. I think this is beautiful. I do not like the reverse dust jacket on here, so I'm going to keep it this one. I think this is beautiful. I hope that they do Black Rose because I really, really want a matching set. But I enjoyed this. I gave it, 4 stars. I feel like it wasn't a 5-star hit for me because some of the writing is not the greatest. Some of the plot progression is not the greatest. And I feel like it is very insta-lovey. But there's a reason, okay? If you do not like insta-love, that's fine. There's a reason. So just keep trucking through. I promise you it'll pay off in the end. If anybody wants a dark fantasy romance, pick this up. It's not super dark in kind of like H.D. Carlton dark, but it's dark in the fact of it has gothic atmosphere. It has like Victorian feel. Just, it's so good. So pick it up. I suggest it. And then the book that I just finished a couple days ago, I wanted something more lighthearted, and I picked up my Patreon book club pick for this month. Since it's the month of love, you wanted something love and swoon worthy that you could just melt into. And I picked up Soulmates. This was our pick for the month. I loved this. It's a YA contemporary romance. So beautiful, so well written. I gave it 4 stars. You are following our female main character who goes to school. She had a best friend named Jacob Kim, and she's Korean, but she was not born in Korea, I don't think. So she knows English, but not Korean. But she is Korean American, but she struggles to identify with other Koreans, and she kind of gets bullied a little bit because she's not full Korean. She's not speaking Korean, so she struggles with her identity in high school. Her best friend, Jacob, who she grew up with, a few years prior moved away. They moved to Korea, and they didn't talk anymore. She was mad at him. She pushed him away. He comes back into her life for the summer, and she finds out that he is like a big star in Korea on a K-drama. So whenever she's walking around with him, everyone is calling him by his Korean name, which I'm not going to try to pronounce. And so she starts listening. I can't even talk today. She starts watching some K-dramas, the one that he's in. There is kind of some messy paparazzi things that they need to address because he is supposed to be acting like he's in a relationship with the female main character of the K-drama, but he is actually really in love with her and she's in love with him, and they're trying to navigate this whole world. It was so good, so swoony, so lighthearted. You can sit down and read this in probably one sitting, depending on how quick you consume books. It's not hard to get through. I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm so happy that I love Susan Lee's writing because I have another book by her called The Name Drop, and I can't wait to start that one either. But it was a hit. It was 4 stars. It was everything I needed for the month of love. And I loved everything about this, and I loved watching the struggles that they go through in today's society and culture, and how even though they get bullied by their own people, they also are having an inner turmoil struggle, and I liked how that was portrayed. I felt like it was very well done. So I highly suggest if anybody wants a good YA contemporary romance, Soulmates is definitely a must. So that catches you up on all the books that I have completed. I have added, if you follow me on Goodreads, I've added quite a few books to my currently reading because in my in-person monthly book club, whenever we met at the beginning of this month, we all decided that, hey, there's 4 of us. Let's all just pick 1 book each month and we'll read 4 books a month for each person. So I have 3 books that I still need to get through. It is the 19th of February. I also am currently reading another book. So we're going to see how the last 10 days, well, actually, it's at nighttime, so maybe the last 9 days of the month go. How many of those books am I going to get read? We're not meeting again until March 9th, I think. We're having a girls' day. We are going to a neighboring town that's about an hour away. We're going to be going to used bookstores. We're going to be going to Barnes and Noble because we don't have that much here. We have a Books A Million and a couple used bookstores, but in our town here, there's not a whole lot of selection at the used bookstore. So we're going to go and we're going to make a day of it. We're going to have lunch together, just have a good girl fun day. So I'm going to talk to them and see if they wouldn't mind if I kind of did a little bit of vlogging that day and take you guys along with me. Tell me if you would want to see that in the comments below. But as I said, the weekly vlogs will be returning next week. I just started today, it being the first day of the vlog. I'm feeling much, much better. So we're just going to go with that. If you want to, hit me up on any of my social medias, follow me on Goodreads, join my Patreon if you want to pick the book of the month for March. But I will see you guys next time, and I have a few fun videos coming, so definitely stick around. Bye!